It is my Tuesday album tour. Today, we are going to be listening. Well, in fact, we just listened to my very first Primus album, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Now, we are hopping into David Bowie's album, Low. This is the Mustard and Mainstream tour. Guys, I have not listened to Bowie. I've reacted to one other Bowie album before, and that was Hunky Dory, and I enjoyed the frig out of it. It looks like Low happened like 6 years later, and potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 albums later. So this is this is potentially a lot of work removed from what we heard on Hunky Dory, but I'm excited. Have you guys heard this album before? Didn't want to. No. Okay, good. Have you guys heard this album before, guys? I am going to hit the play button. Before I do, it's very important to me that you know that you are awesome, that you are valuable, that you are important, that you matter, that you are deserving of love, and that I am abundantly grateful for even a moment of your time. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help me out. If you really like what you see, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, or join us on Twitch. These people over here are the best people. Come hang out with us. Come discover music with us. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Arizona time. We would love to have you by. Guys, I honestly... as far as Bowie goes, I know some, don't know a lot. I know I loved Hunky Dory. And Low is, again, unexplored territory for me. However, it seems like he's kind of an established act at this point. Like, he's been out 10 years. He's definitely, done some business. It seems like he's changed his look over the course of time. We went from this guy looking straight out of the Summer of Love to this guy that's like kind of experimenting with a whole new thing, to this guy who's from a different planet. To this guy who looks like he's a movie director or in an art. Yeah. So definitely, not unlike Bob Dylan, each album seems to represent a different phase of the man. What's your favorite era of Bowie? I'm interested. It seems like he's got a super long and celebrated catalog. What's your favorite era of Bowie? Guys, by the way, before I hop into this album, today is the day in music, as I hop into this album, that we lost Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne passed away today on July 22nd of 2025, and that really sucks. It's a loss to music that sucks forever. And as a person who grew up idolizing Ozzy Osbourne, he was my first superhero of music, truly. And even just in, my young person's impression of a rock star, put F's in the chat for the death, W's in the chat for his life. Same thing for the YouTube comments. Not that Bowie has anything to do with Ozzy. However, a loss in music is a loss in music, and, it matters. Guys, all of that aside, let's listen to Low by Bowie. Who's listening to this with me for the first time? Identify yourselves. And, of course, Context Crew. Give context as we go through. Here we go. Speed of Life. Bowie. This is a collab with Eno. So did Eno actually produce it, or was like Bowie co-producer? So this is early new wave Bowie. drum build up there. I love the snare. This is Speed of Life. I love that guitar tone on the lead. Oh, you mean Bowie era. Didoy. It's kind of chaotic how wet these synth reverbs kind of sound. And I say wet synth reverb sound. I don't know if they're actually like putting reverbs on the synth, but it's got this really big spacious sound thing happening for it. And you've got low and high synth happening at the same time. What is your favorite era of Bowie? Because I don't feel like Ziggy era is a basic take. I think that's kind of like, I don't know. Is it basic to say Ziggy? I like that they just open it up with an instrumental. What's significant about the Duke era? That's a good answer, going optimal. That's actually a very fair answer. For an instrumental, most instrumentals don't run off the gate with almost 11 milli plays on Spotify. Let's just call that like it is. Board fade, though. Ooh, listen to the guitar. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Lately, I've been breaking glass in your room again. Listen.
The panning feels like he kind of took stereo seriously.
Don't look at the carpet. I drew something awful on it. See?
What did he pee on it? Or did he dump something on it?
Such a wonderful person.
Ooh.
But you got problems.
His voice editing.
I'll never touch you.
This bass sound. Also, I'll Never Touch You sounded like Oh Let Me Touch You.
I'll never touch you.
What's it say?
I'll never touch you.
Okay, I'll Never Touch You is actually what it sounds like when I closed my eyes and turned away. Those synths are kind of abrasive at moments, but in a fun way. Okay, what in the world is next? Wow. Talk about 8-bit.
You're just a little girl with gray eyes. Never mind. Say something.
Very much reminds me of like Talking Heads sounds, or Devo, kind of XTC in moments.
Never mind. Say something. Wait until the crowd cries. Oh, wait until the crowd cries. You're just a little girl with gray eyes.
It's like such a less abrasive voice than David Byrne would have, but it's like the instrumentation certainly reminds me of Talking Heads, but it's like a more melodic, kind of pensive sounding Bowie, right? Like not nearly I'm panicked. Like you don't have the same anxiety. You have more of a yearning versus anxious, and I get it.
What in the world can you do? What in the world can you do? I'm in the mood for your love, for your love, for your love.
But that definitely reminds me a little bit of Byrne.
I'm just a little bit afraid of you, 'cause love will make you cry.
Did this come out before or after Talking Heads 77? Can I get a date check?
Oh, wait until the crowd goes. I'm just a little bit afraid of you.
I'm not hearing cardiacs.
You never leave your room.
In vocal delivery, at least.
Inside of me, yearning deep inside of me is talking through the. I'm just a little bit afraid of you. So deep in your room, you never leave your room. Something deep inside of me, yearning deep inside of me is talking through the gloom. What in the world can I do? What in the world
Thank you,
can
Sibley.
I do? I'm in the mood for your love. For your love. For your love. Oh, what you gonna say?
Is this proto new wave?
What you gonna do? What you gonna be to the real me? To the real me under the cool moon, under fighting a war. What you gonna say to the real me? To the real me?
Like this sounds like like this really does. I feel like it's kind of proto new wavy. Like it's like new wave before it got too much crazy. And this is sound and vision. I like the vibrato they have on the guitars. This bass line is just so punchy. Like All of My Love, Zeppelin. It reminds you of the song All of My Love by Led Zeppelin. Am I wrong? Or Dear Man. Okay, I could hear that too. I am wrong. That reminds me a little bit of Heart of Glass, but I don't know that I've ever actually listened to the earliest. I don't know if I've ever actually listened to the earliest Blondie album. I just not long ago read Debbie Harry's autobiography. Maybe I should jump into the first Blondie album. This though gives me a just who's making that voice? Is that Bowie?
Sometimes about sound and vision.
So much indie rock heard this and ran away with the guitar tones.
Blue, blue, electric blue. That's the color of my room where I will live.
Bowie compose most of the stuff in his work, or does he work with musicians? How does it work? Like, do people bring music to the Bowie and he just writes to it? Like, I'm interested in the creative process. How does he end up with the music that he plays as David Bowie?
Hey, you blind, strong all day. Nothing to read, nothing to say. Blue, blue.
I love this song.
I will sit right down, waiting for the gift of sound and vision. And I will say, waiting for the gift of sound and vision. Drifting into my solitude, over my head. Don't you wonder sometimes?
So when he played live, did he play an instrument on stage, or was he always frontman David Bowie? And in being frontman David Bowie, was he a guy that was playing all of the instruments behind the scenes for the record and then just giving the info, like giving the musicians like their parts and letting them have their own individual elements to it? Like, I'm interested. Does anybody have any insight on the recording processes?
About sound and vision.
The bass line and sound and vision. He does. I will say I've heard a lot of board fades, but like they're not terrible. This is Brian Eno-y.
Every chance that I take it on the road. With kilometers and the red lights,
Spaceshipy noises. Is that like a Moog?
I was always looking left and right. Oh, but always crashing in the same car.
He kind of has this ability to like sing in this kind of quiet thing where he adds a little bit of reverb and compression, but then he's got these big voices, and it's really interesting. I would also say voice actory elements for David Bowie in that he has kind of a personality control with his voice, I guess. Theatrical, thank you. Thematic, very thematic in nature.
Jasmine, I saw you beaming.
Dun, dun.
As I pushed my foot down to the floor, I was going round and round. Hotel garage must have been touching close to 94. Oh, but I'm always crashing in the same car.
Kind of interesting. I'm wondering what he wrote this about. I feel like he's almost like it's almost a comment like he's living life on the edge and kind of just throwing himself into these bad positions and just floors it. And just always ends up in the same position. Like he makes the same mistake over and over again because he's putting himself in that position. guitar here. Honestly, Ween coded a bit. Like, I'm willing to bet you Dean Ween heard this album once. The way it ends there, man. This has already kind of been a perfect album. Even to the point where it opens up with an almost 3-minute instrumental, and I'm excited. The next one is Be My Wife. Okay, David. Think this was the real proposal?
Sometimes you get so lonely. Sometimes you get nowhere.
Okay.
I've lived all over the world. I've left every place.
Ooh. That lead kind of flying over everything.
Please be mine. Share my life. Stay with me. Be my wife. Sometimes you get so lonely. Sometimes you get nowhere. I've lived all over the world. I've left every place.
I wonder what he's trying to get at here. Sometimes his lyrics make me feel like they're strictly instrumental or almost ornamental to the music, but then other times I feel like they're abstract and very personal. Like the way he sings them, it feels like there's this like kind of stream of consciousness where he's saying things in his brain that like make sense to the place he's in his own life at that moment. And he's just kind of getting them out onto a page, and that page would eventually become a song. That's the vibe I get from this. Definitely understanding the new wave comparison hearing this.
Sometimes you get so lonely.
Where does this song rank on the album? One of the heavier listened to, but it seems like we've already listened to the bulk hitters. Side A has been unbelievable. Is this the end of Side A? The piano adds here. I think almost every song has been board faded. And people dunk on me when I talk about how I dislike it, but I don't understand why. Like, some things just bother me, right? Like, I don't think it's that hard for a band to come up with a concise ending. And I don't think all board fades are bad. Sometimes people do really creative things within the board fade, which makes you kind of listen more intently. Other times it's just a volume panned down, or a volume dial pulled down. So Yeah, side B, very different, less of a favorite. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I am down to hear it, but tell you what, in fact, before that, I am gonna run an ad and we're gonna come back and see if we can finish side B. So I will be right back. All right, guys, it is time. Let's close this here album down with what I imagine it was side B. Though, could somebody let me know, was Be My Wife the beginning of side B, or was A New Career in Town? Let me know. Ooh. Kind of a 4 on the floor thing here. Not anymore. Is that like an arpeggiator? Or like an electric drum? Like a drum machine? Kind of warbly. Ooh. Thank you, Nate. I love the harmonica here. Don't worry, I'm not going to get mine out. Dude, kind of a New Order thing. Before Joy Division. I love this sound. You know why? Because I've been teaching myself for the last, 8 months or so how to play the harmonica, and I've put a tremendous amount of work in. Believe it or not, like I'm actually really, really, really proud of my progress. But I found myself wondering how I might incorporate the harmonica in my stuff, in like my own personal works outside of like folk-oriented stuff. Nugget Stretch, 59 months. Holy actual crap, dude. Oh my gosh. But W's for Nugget Stretch, 59 months, literally the entire time I have been a streamer. That's nuts. When I think about it though, the harmonica in this context, like the context I know of the harmonica being used are contexts that I wouldn't conventionally use them. Yo, Crimson, thank you for the gifted sub. I love you, pal. And yeah, I'm absolutely starting to see why people are saying Bowie was perpetually ahead of his time. And when I hear this, it feels like an indie rock instrumental with the harmonica, which is something I certainly don't hear indie rock doing nowadays. I hear Giz doing it, right? But this feels kind of like synth pop meets indie rock meets the harmonica, and it's really nice. I love this harmonica sound so much. Guys, a second hype train tonight. You guys are too much. I'm serious. I sound. Like I feel like B-52s heard this and took inspiration for sure. I feel like probably XTC did as well. You know, and like again, New Order certainly. It's I can't even tell you how many indie rock bands. I mean, golly goodness. Yo, what's up, Callow? Hunky Dory actually has an interesting subtext to it when you watch that video. And this is the beginning of side B, and this is Warszawa? Is that what it is? Warszawa? Did I say that right? Will somebody translate this for me? Can I get a translation? Ooh. Some Mellotron? Or just a synth? What is this sound I'm hearing? It's like it has a prog rock sound in the middle of it, but it's like new wave prog rock sound. What? Dean, this might be what makes that decision, dude. I mean, literally, look at the score. This might actually be the thing that makes that decision. Brian Eno and Alan Parsons are guys that I've been, like, in my brain saying I needed to continue to dig into. What was David Bowie's best collaboration? I'm interested. This is such a tense sound. It's just got such an ominousness to it. Go ahead, Dean. Glaze, homie. I'll allow glazing. Ooh. vocal instrument. This is a made-up language, according to the internet. Did anybody see this performed live? Did they do the same thing as the album live? This man made up like a chanting language. Sir, how is that kind of one of the most dope things ever? And really ballsy, because like, how do you recreate it, right? Like, then teaching people your language and whether or not it does or does not mean something. Or if the abstract is supposed to make you feel something, or just like the feeling that the words make you feel, whether you know what they are or not. Or is it this like Bowie's Klingon, you know? Can somebody tell me about the instrumentation on it? This did feel like prog rock happening in our ears. Yo, Paraplui, welcome to the Rooskies. Your follower number 3,700. Apparently. Thank you for that. Rooskies, make our new friend feel at home. This is Art Decade. This certainly sounds like New Wave. Glad you enjoyed me enjoying it. I guess. Thank you for saying so. The noises are so tense and eerie and digital, you know? The strings here. Really wet sounds. And then you've got this presence of the string synths just lifting up. This occasional harp sounding synth with the delay. Ding, 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 ding. The Dolby Digital sound, surround sound. I just heard my wife sneeze from the other room. Everybody say God bless you. That way when she watches the video later, she'll know she was blessed. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you here, Judo. This is mustardy as F. Like, this is cussin' mustardy, bud. You know, I have an interesting question for you guys, and this is perhaps just me thing, and I'm interested to know the way you guys intellectualize music and art. Frequently, when I hear instrumental music, I find myself wrestling with whether or not the name has any sort of significance to the sound I am hearing, and my brain begins painting this picture of abstraction, abstract connection, or juxtaposing this idea and trying to paint imagery in my head for what the sound means against the title. In Art Decade, I'm finding myself wrestling with it, feeling kind of like, it's an artsy era that's being kind of combated by or embraced by the digital age, right? But then as Good Music is Good just said, to that exact point, I fight myself thinking I shouldn't overthink it and just surrender to the flow. And sometimes I'm able to do that. More often than not, if I'm just being honest with you guys, that happens on later listens where I'm like, my guard isn't up and I'm not like trying to analyze what I'm hearing, right? But I absolutely, no matter when this has happened, whether I was reacting or not, when I hear an instrumental sound, I find myself wondering why the name, right? And my brain makes up little stories for why that's the case. I guess maybe I'm just saying this out loud because I don't know that I've ever actually talked about it on the channel before. And I'm wondering if you're in the same ballpark, like when you hear instrumentals. Please let me know. Thank you, Judo. I'm actually really, really about that. I don't know if I don't think I've heard other Bowie instrumentals before, like, and if I have, maybe they were more transit board fade forever, Boars fade forever. In Hunky Dory, Hunky Dory didn't get the perfect score. I'm interested. We have 2 songs to go, and I'm noticing the last song is named Subterraneans, which I'm wondering is in homage to Jack Kerouac's novella, Subterraneans. This is Weeping Wall. Here, there we go. Ooh, another instrumental? The song Art Decade is named for a street that Bowie had encountered in West Berlin, the name of which was a pun on the Art Deco style. In fact, the song itself, like the rest of the song on the B-side of Low, is a portrait of West Berlin. Thank you! This is very, by comparison, very experimental for what I feel like I'd heard Bowie do before. Less in character, honestly, he has been kind of less thematic in this. I feel like he's almost been more composer in this in a lot of ways, versus, him being kind of like in Hunky Dory, right? You have this guy who is really writing deep, meaningful, kind of satirical at times things. Like he's like going through life. He's had kid. He's like writing these massive like songs like Life on Mars. You know what I mean? This album has been a very yeah, look at the pictures. I think this really sums up the difference. You know, like the album covers really, like this feels like it's kind of a brooding David Bowie album, and you see kind of a brooding David Bowie picture. Like we're a hood away from him being a walk in the rain. But it feels very, like, instrumentally pensive. Is this a synth or a guitar with just a lot of wet reverb? And, like, some compression and fuzz? It's kind of polyrhythmic and really is creating a big tension. His vibrato on his voice. This polyrhythmic thing is... It's got to line up eventually, right? Kind of siren-y there. Weirdly enough, kind of chaotic and hopeful at the same time. But also sad. And anxious. And some parts syncopate and relieve while others leave you tense. And then they board fade it. It doesn't even give you a full bore resolve. Dang. So we're going into the very last song, Subterraneans. And it looks like this one has some heckin' ton of lyrics, apparently. Tension without the release. Not sure I want that. I have a hard time with it. There were bits of releases, like we got little bits throughout, but it wasn't a full overarching release, right? Like just some parts resolved while others like still remained tense. So it was like some parts would syncopate and it kind of made it feel like the rest of the song changed tempo or the backbone. Like that was a song that kind of changed spines, where it was like the focal backbone changed. I don't know. I've described this before, and it happens a lot when you know beats feel like they switch from one beat to the other within the same song. Anyways, guys, Subterraneans, a closer. Let's see if this makes this an 11 for an 11. Because Weeping Wall should have gotten the... I really did find myself living kind of an adventure hearing the sound there. I'm eager to revisit some of these instrumentals and just like letting them play through without the worry of YouTube giving me the kibosh. Okay, Subterraneans. Here we go. It feels so early in time to be hearing noises like this. like these reverse sound, like these reverse guitar sounds, and then you've got these synthy sounds. And I think a Rhodes, like I'm hearing a Rhodes keyboard with like some delay, I think. Fair enough, good music. I guess I hadn't considered that. But again, the synth work, I guess, is really what I'm getting. And I mean, I know there was plenty of synth happening before this, but synth in this context, this is still a pretty new idea. I wonder what the tour for this album must have been like. That last song, I guess, did kind of have a krautrocky thing going for it, didn't it? Not that, like, this is like I'm saying that because I just listened to Faust. Right, and hearing a lot of that syncopation and stuff was, you know, and maybe, actually, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, maybe a lot of that, like, kind of stuff that we've heard, like, throughout, where you do have that, like, multiple syncopation thing, it does have that krautrocky sort of thing going for it. If my only example of that is the Faust album, Faust 4, that I heard. And absolutely, Judo. Oh, thank you, Nate. I appreciate you saying so. I didn't want to just be like, oh, German context must be krautrock. I wanted to give a reason for why I felt that way. The strings thing is so cool, but you have this, like, this, whatever, it sounds like a Rhodes keyboard that's got, like, reverse sounds happening on the decay of the sound. And I'm loving it so much, but I don't quite know how to ping what it is. The best part of the whole album right there. Oh my God. We waited the whole album to hear that dang saxophone. This makes me think it's very much a Jack Kerouac inspired thing, because it was so jazz inspired, the Subterraneans. I love this song so much. This feels like jazz. This feels like abstract with design. It feels kind of like lo-fi jazz before people were calling it that. This feels like it could have been featured in the first episode of Cowboy Bebop. If you know, you friggin' know. Holy frig, by far the best on side B for me. Oh my gosh. The saxophone really just hits hard here. Oh man. Friggin' loved this, dude. And I'm so happy that we started switching it to where the albums were contrasted, because I'm sitting here thinking how different this was than the other album I listened to, the Primus album I listened to. You know, because tonight I listened to Primus's Sailing the Seas of Cheese and David Bowie's Low. And guys, if I'm being honest with you, those have nothing to do with one another. And I got to walk away this evening with two just wonderful albums that left me feeling good for different reasons and like kind of challenging in their own right. You know, either of the albums we approached tonight had their own layer of challenge, but there was also this element of excitement and newness. And like you could tell, like David Bowie here was doing something very different than what I had heard before. I mean, again, this is, you know, it seems like kind of a lifetime removed from what he had done in Hunky Dory, and like 6 years seems like such a crazy difference to go from this person to this person. I absolutely want to continue to dig into David Bowie more. Low was so good. And honestly, I found myself enjoying it more than I did Hunky Dory. And I really ended up listening to Hunky Dory a ton. I mean, I've listened to a lot of it so many times, but let's just be real. If I'm being honest with you, I 100% the most will probably just... Like, Life on Mars is such a good song. I'm probably going to listen to that song more than any other on the album. But I like that album. I frequently revisited that album. But Low is so good. Low is so good. I think Sound and Vision at the end of it really did end up being my favorite. And honestly, I feel sometimes hesitant to tell you guys that the most listened to song ends up being my favorite on the album. I don't want it to be. I wish I didn't have to say that, right? Like, we should be able to like what we like, and that is what it is. And so, like, if that's your case, never be ashamed to just like the most listened to song on the album. I don't want to have that shame, like I have to be some hipster that just likes the deep tracks better. A lot of times the deep tracks are better, and you find diamonds that you never would have found. That goes back to favorite Bowie being Ziggy as basic. It is, but no shame. Thank you, Going Optimal. I actually really love that point came back full circle. That's actually perfect. Honestly, I think what's got me excited about it is it just feels like David Bowie's brain is cool, and I want to keep seeing what it does. Like, I've followed King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard throughout all of their albums, right? Saw such an evolution of the band over 27 albums now. As I've listened to Fish and kind of catalog, and when I do full dives, right, like, you really get to see the evolution of dudes. When you see Frank Zappa, Bob Dylan, like, you see so many unique and interesting, and where did that come from? Yet that's now a staple part of our sound. I actually think Going Optimal one time, he said it, I think, to me twice, but in different contexts. We were talking about Fish, but he said everything that we heard from Fish is necessary Fish. It all ends up being the sound that we have now, and the sound now is great. And so all Fish is necessary Fish. And honestly, as I am reflecting on so many of my deep dives or artists, and particularly with David Bowie right now, because I've heard Hunky Dory, I've heard Low. I find myself really thinking that that's got to be true, like especially with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, my favorite band. As I think about that, that's absolutely true. All phases were necessary phases. And yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, as I'm hearing this album, I feel like that point from Going Optimal really hits home. This album is fantastic. I really am glad. This was a great night, guys. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. By the way, if you were here and you heard this for the first time with me, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Guys, I'm out of here. I love you. Thank you for being here. Continue to be the best. And until I see you next, be introspective. Consider the birds. Goodbye.